Welcome everybody to this edition of Attention Talk Video. I'm your host, ADHD and attention coach, Jeff Copper. Today, I want to talk to you, this is a self-awareness video today of how society is dumbing everything down and how you need to be aware of this and how it plays out in your life. Before we get into the content though, I want to make you aware of children and adults with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, better known as CHAD. They have evidence-based and evidence-informed information on ADHD if you visit their website at chadd.org. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you a story. I was a competitive swimmer in college. I used to swim 4 hours a day. I used to eat a lot. And back in 1982, if you went into McDonald's and you said, I'll have one of everything, that meant a Big Mac, a quarter pounder, a hamburger, a filet of fish, French fries, apple pie, and a Coke and a shake. It was $12.85, just so you know. I used to walk in and just say, hey, one of everything. And one day I walk into McDonald's and I said, one of everything to go. And they just looked at me and they go, oh, do you want a Big Mac, a fries, and a Coke? I said, no, one of everything. And they brought the manager over. And anyway, they did it. So I'm sitting there and then another customer comes in next to me and they order a Big Mac, French fries, and a Coke. And the guy yells, sack a Mac 101. And he hit a button on the register. Now, this is interesting. He hit a button. The package was the three combined. Later, I found out that McDonald's did that because people weren't able to add all the prices together accurately to collect the money from the customers. I shouldn't say all. Some people had difficulty with it. So now they just pushed the button. So when I would walk in and say, I want one of everything, they didn't cognitively understand it. They dumbed it down to the point that people couldn't do it and they can't make change anymore. I'm using that as a metaphor because there's a lot of other things. We use GPSs right now. And I was a high adventure scoutmaster. You know, when you use a map, you actually realize the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, and you know where the North Star is. And sometimes you can orient yourself because you learn how to do that. Now, people don't even know where north, south, east, and west is because they've never even used a map before. Another phenomenon now is, do you have a cell phone? If you're a parent, do you know your kid's cell phone number? Well, right now, I just put in your kid's name and you hit the button. What happened if you ever lost the cell phone? Like you lost it in an emergency situation, you wouldn't know the number of your kids. We've made so simple that we dumb things down. So Jeff, what's your point? My point really is the other day, I got an inquiry by an organization wanted to advertise on my stuff that it's an app to manage your ADHD. What you do is you put in the symptom and it tells you what you're supposed to do. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like ADHD is ADHD is different for everybody. There's not one solution going to work for everybody. They're going to dumb this thing down to an app where you're going to plug this thing and you think that's going to give you the answer. It's like, it's absolutely absurd. And when I'm coaching people with ADHD, I literally sometimes I forbid you from looking at anything else on ADHD because you go read all that stuff and it makes you think that you're like that. You're not learning observation skills. What's that? Well, when I grew up, my mom used to dry clothes on the outside on the clothesline. Right? Sometimes the weather guy would say it's going to rain today. My mom would walk out and look up at the stuff and, you know, intuitively, she's, it's not going today. My mom could tell, well, it might rain somewhere, but not here today. She put it out there because she learned observation skills. People with ADHD need to learn to watch themselves because you're different. What's going to work for you is going to work for you. It's only going to happen if you observe yourself. But too often we're relying on somebody else to tell us what's going on. And so we've dumbed the world down so much that people are having some difficulty. What's the point? The point really is to make you aware that this is taking place and that if you're going to manage your ADHD, you need to take ownership of it. You can read the stuff for education and awareness, but at some point in time, you've got to be aware of yourself. You've got to watch yourself. You've got to be honest with yourself. And you've got to accept yourself. Once you accept yourself, you can kind of move forward. So anyway, I'm sorry this has been a little bit of a heady type video, but it is something I think is really, really important that society is dumbing everything down to where nobody can think anymore. And that's why a lot of times you're stuck. And I encourage you to think. Again, Jeff, how do I do that? Well, you know, that's kind of complicated. I wish I could put that down in a sentence for you. But the first thing is you need to realize is don't let everybody dumb you down. If you don't acknowledge that and go forward, you can't take the next step. So anyway, Hope this is giving you pause to think. If you haven't done so and you're a new person, please subscribe to our channel. We release a tip each week. You can also look back in our archives. One last thing, please leave a comment. What do you think? If you got a great observational tip, I'd love to see that too. So anyway, we hope you've enjoyed this video. Take care.